welcome to everyone joining us today. My name is Joan McBride. I'm honored to serve as the senior co-chair of National Philanthropy Day this year. Later in the presentation, you'll be hearing from my co-chair, Elizabeth McKibben. But the bulk of our presentation today is being offered by Vicki Berry and Heather Harwell. They are both major gifts officers at St. Joseph Hospital Foundation, and Vicki is actually a former co-chair of National Philanthropy Day. The thing I hadn't realized until just a few months ago is that she was a co-chair in 2001, right after 9/11. So she had quite the experience similar to what we had last year with the pandemic and figuring out the best way to manage the event. I do want to mention that this year's theme is Illuminating Hope Through Philanthropy, because it's all the idea of moving forward, continuing to look forward with hope and with a sense of joy. It is the organization that presents this event is the Association of Fundraising Professionals, the Orange County chapter. Most chapters throughout the country, and I believe into Canada as well, do host a National Philanthropy Day specific to their geographic area. Right now, we are scheduled for Wednesday, November 17th. It's a luncheon at City National Grove of Anaheim. We are very hopeful that we will be back in person this year. We don't know specifics just yet. We'll know more in the coming weeks and coming months, but the goal and the hope of the venue and our chapter is to be back in person. So please save the date. I do want to mention National Philanthropy Day is a special day that's set aside for the purpose of recognizing the great contribution that philanthropy makes to our society and to honor individuals, businesses, and support organizations that are active in the philanthropic community. You'll be hearing more a little bit later about the different categories and how they are each defined as you determine people that you might want to submit as honorees. And again, I've already mentioned this, but it never hurts to reiterate. Again, save the date, Wednesday the 17th, City National Grove of Anaheim. At this point, I'm going to turn things over to Vicki.
Thank you, Joan. A couple of things. Really want to encourage submitting deserving philanthropists and organizations that really focus on Orange County, the Orange County community. And that's something that's pretty important. We have a huge base of support in Orange County, and we really want to welcome and honor those people. So we're focused on Orange County. We encourage everyone to submit a nomination. So that can be individuals, it can be organizations, it can be companies. And they can be submitted for individuals, businesses, groups. One thing that people sometimes ask is, are self-nominations okay? Yes, they are very okay. So if you have a group that's really doing great work, go ahead and submit a nomination. You're welcome to submit nominees in all the categories. However, each organization may only enter one nominee per category. So if you have two wonderful volunteer fundraisers, please don't submit two, pick one and submit that. So that's something that helps to make sure that you're getting the right nominations in the right category. Before nominating someone, please obtain their permission. Sometimes in the past, we've had issues where people were surprised and sometimes not in a good way. So it's important to obtain permission from your nominees. That's something that we encourage everybody to do at the start. One of the things we have is the National Philanthropy Day Orange County website. It's got loads of information. It also has a list of our outstanding honorees from the past, going back to the 1990s. So if you don't know if your nominee has already been awarded, that's a good place to look. It doesn't mean they cannot be submitted again. It just gives you an idea of who has already been an outstanding honoree. And that website is npdoc.org. Next. So how do you know which is the correct category for your nominee? The criterion are on the website. If you're not sure if it's a small business or a medium-sized business, that's there. If you don't know if it should be a founder or a volunteer fundraiser, that criteria is there. So please review those criterion very carefully. Next. If the committee, the judging committee, thinks that your nomination would fit better in a different category, you may be contacted and able to switch categories. So if you nominate someone as a volunteer fundraiser and the committee thinks it's a better fit for founder, that would be the suggestion. So we don't want people to lose out because their nomination was not in the strongest category. So be aware that that may be something that happens. If you have any questions, read the criteria again, and it's your discretion, but whatever you think fits best. Go ahead and next slide. I'm going to hand over to Heather Harwell. She's going to go through the various categories.
Thanks, Vicki. We have 9 possible categories for people to be nominated in. Again, all the nominees are for Orange County. This first one is Outstanding Philanthropist, and it's really outstanding individual, family, foundation. It's tied to an individual, not a corporation. There's another category for corporations. Definitely extraordinary, demonstrating extraordinary civic and charitable responsibility, whose generosity really inspires others to philanthropic action, multiple charities, long-term, and that the philanthropist is at least one living founder or family member. This is not meant to be in memorial of, but definitely somebody who is a living founder or family member. Next slide, please. Second category, Outstanding Founder, Leadership and Vision. Truly remarkable achievement for leadership and vision in establishing a successful nonprofit. So it takes a real special person to have the vision and carry it through and lead it. So Outstanding Founder is the second category. Next slide, please. Third category is Outstanding Philanthropic Group. This is like a volunteer team, a guild, auxiliary. It can be a chartered support group or incorporated as a nonprofit organization. So this would be the third award category. Next slide, please. Outstanding Volunteer Fundraiser. Truly recognizing a remarkable, outstanding volunteer, specifically with leadership and motivation, substantial energy, time, creativity. There's so much that volunteers do for, we need these volunteers for the nonprofits, for these organizations. So outstanding. Anybody that comes to mind, they're all outstanding, but truly there's some remarkable ones in your organizations that you can think of, exemplifying the spirit of volunteerism as well. Next slide, please. Outstanding Corporation or Business, and this is 3 different categories within this one, so 3 different awards. One's given under the number 3 there. 500 plus employees, 59 to 499, and a category for fewer than 50 employees. And truly, this would be recognizing businesses that have created a real culture of philanthropy, outstanding commitment all the way through, from financial leadership involvement, and their workforce volunteering and being supportive. So this is it's 3 different businesses, corporations, depending on the category of their number of employees, can be recognized. So these 3 categories. Next slide. The next category, outstanding youth or youth group. Obviously, a youth is considered somebody under 21 in this particular case. We've had some remarkable youths and youth groups awarded in the past. Very inspirational. I wish I had been that way when I was under 21 and hardly did anything in nonprofit under 21, silly me. But this year's really remarkable is that we're so excited to announce that we'll be able to provide this year's Outstanding Youth Honoree with a $1,000 personal scholarship award plus a $2,500 award to give to the charity of their choice. So amazing what these young kids are able to do if you've been able to participate in the last and see the last programs. Next slide, please. The Legacy Award. Think of this as like a Lifetime Achievement Award. It's not always given. This is given at the discretion of the judging panel and definitely not awarded every year. In fact, this past year, 2020, there was not an award recipient. But it's really recognizing cumulative philanthropic efforts of an individual, family, or family foundation over 10 years or more, as that says. Again, with their long-term involvement being Orange County nonprofit.
Thank you for deciding to submit a nomination. There's a lot of work that goes into that. So who decides? Who decides and reads all those nominations? We can have 100, 120 nominations every year. So who decides? Next slide. It's a panel of judges from the community, including past honorees, nonprofit professionals who are from Orange County, and they sit on various committees. There's a subcommittee for each category, as well as the overall judging committee. And there are usually 2 co-chairs for the judging committee. And it's a variety of people from the business community, community leaders, all kinds of folks. And so the committees meet and review the category nominations, and then they put forward their selections, and the entire panel meets and determines the final outstanding honorees. So next slide, please. So you've decided to nominate someone. How do you do that? We are now online only. Those of you who remember the olden days with paper, those days are gone. We only can accept online nominations. So go to npd.org and click on the awards tab, and that will pull up the form, and you can submit it that way. That is the only way. You can't do it email or any of those things. Next slide, please. Here's the meat of the matter. The essay is critical. The essay is the only information that we have for each subcommittee and the overall committee that talks about your organization that's nominating these folks, what it is that you do, and what it is that makes your nominee so special. A lot of times they may be very well known, but many times they're not. So your judging committees are made up of a variety of people from Orange County, and this is your opportunity to tell the story of your nominee and the impact on your organization. So the 750 words is very limited. We get that. But it is the vehicle by which the judging is accomplished. So when you're putting a lot of thought into this, make sure to have others give feedback and make it as compelling as possible. Again, can't say enough, this is the vehicle by which the outstanding honorees are selected by the judging committees. Next slide, please. So how do you strengthen your nomination? And one of the things that's worked well is to collaborate with other nonprofits. It's pretty rare that a stellar philanthropist, fundraiser, community group only works with one charity or one nonprofit. So find out who your nominee is also involved with, their other interests, and ask them also to submit nominations. We do not accept letters of support to a single nomination. There's no way to do that using the new online format. So we ask that everyone do their own nomination. So if it's the Segerstrom Center and the Boy Scouts and the hospital, each of those should have its own nomination of your selected nominee. And again, it would be specific to your organization's relationship with your nominee. How has that person or group impacted your mission and your work? And that's one of the things that the judges really look at is, okay, we have one person is doing this at this nonprofit, but they're also involved over here and doing great things over here. So those are things that make for a really strong nomination, is multiple nominations. And again, it all goes back to that essay or statement. If essay scares you, it's statement. And again, I'm sorry, we cannot accept letters of support. There's no way to do that. So we're only looking at nominations. As it's been true for many years in the past, the submission deadline is May 31st. That is because it takes some work to prepare the nominations to go out to the committees and get our work done in a timely manner. So submission is May 31st, and I think this year it's a Monday. I think it's actually Memorial Day. Next slide, please. Can I revise my nomination after I submitted it? No, I'm sorry. Once it's in, it's in. So double check before you submit. And I see Cynthia sent me a note. Do we reference the other orgs' names within our nomination? Yes, you can if you feel that's a strong point, but make sure that the other organization is also actually submitting a nomination, because that won't serve as a really strong submission. Heather?
How are the outstanding honorees recognized? They will be recognized on stage. There's also a wonderful tribute video that they will be featured in, as well as stories in various media outlets in the area. And of course, on stage and at this prestigious program, there's hundreds of people in attendance, not to mention virtually. So we're excited that this year at the City National Grove, we will be, assuming all goes well, we'll be in person, but and some virtually. So this is very exciting to be able to honor them and recognize them in person. Next slide, please. How will I know if my nominee is chosen as an outstanding honoree? The judging takes place during the summer, and you, as the person or organization nominating them, will be notified in late July. And then if your nominee is chosen, they'll be contacted by one of the judging co-chairs. So it's very exciting, and we do that behind the scenes, of course. And then letters notifying their nominees will be sent in June as well. What happens if my nominee is chosen as an outstanding honoree? Please do your best and plan to attend and host them for the awards luncheon. It's really an honor, and they would be just delighted to have you host them so they can be present. They plan to be anyway, but a wonderful way to honor and recognize them on their special day. And we also may be contacting you to say some special words honoring them and congratulating them for their tribute video as part of the program. Next slide, please. What if my nominee isn't chosen as the outstanding honoree? All the nominees are amazing and will be recognized in several ways. They'll get a special letter from our founder, the founder of National Philanthropy Day, Doug Freeman. They will receive a special gift and special recognition and listing in the invitation and the program. We hope all nominees will attend as well, but they certainly deserve to be recognized, and we certainly do that this year. We're excited to do that. Next slide. Be persistent. This slide is in here really just to bring attention, whether your nominee wins or doesn't. If they don't win, please try to encourage you to nominate them again. It's very, very highly competitive. We get so many remarkable nominations that it's really hard to narrow it down to one. But that doesn't mean they're not deserving, and next year truly could pay off. So they're all so worthy. So hopefully be persistent, encourage you to nominate again. Questions?
Is there a limit to the number of nonprofits that can also nominate using the 750 word limit and doing a full nomination for a single charity?
There's no limit.
Okay.
No.
Something I want to point out too, there are some categories like founder where it might not be multiple nonprofits submitting the nomination. It may be different people or different organizations that have collaborated with that nonprofit and that have a close relationship with the founder. So that's something else where I just want to reiterate that it might not be an organization, it might be an individual that actually submits the nomination or the submission.
Right. Could be a client, could be, a partner.
Okay, I have a question from Kathy Ruvalo. 750 is the minimum or maximum word count? I believe it's the maximum.
Yes.
And then we have another question from Monica McDade. Will there be any special tribute for last year's winners who did not get the physical recognition on stage? We are working out that detail, Monica, and that is our plan. We just don't know specifically what that's going to be yet. But it is on our radar screen, and thank you for mentioning it as well. There's just a couple of other questions. Nella Webster, and I need to introduce Nella. Nella is our honorary chair this year for the event. She was the outstanding philanthropist in 2020, so she graciously agreed to be our honorary chair this year. Heather made a statement about being potentially live and virtual this year. We don't know just yet if we're going to have both components. So I just want to let everybody know it's not 100% certain. And then I do also want to reiterate that we will be recognizing all honorees. The outstanding are the stars of the show, but if you submit someone, they will be honored. It's an honor for them to be honored. And so I do just want to really reiterate that everybody is an honoree. It's that panel that selects the outstanding honorees, and they are the ones that get a little bit more emphasis at the event. And they do, before the judging even takes place, and this is a little different than we've done it the last couple of years, all honorees will actually receive that letter from Doug Freeman with a small gift and an explanation of what happens from there. I'm going to turn this over to Elizabeth McKibben, our junior co-chair for this year's National Philanthropy Day, just to kind of send us off.
Thank you, Joan, and thank you, Vicki and Heather, and thank you everybody for joining us today. To reiterate, the deadline to nominate is May 31st. If you missed any portion of this webinar, or if you'd like to share it, it is being recorded in its entirety, and the link will be available on the AFP OC website within the next week. Please follow us, like us, comment and share NPDOC on our social media sites. And thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you at NPD on Wednesday, November 17th.